Hello Amazon shoppers. So I'm taking a look at, well, as you can see, a levitating little speaker, and it actually works fine without the bass underneath. Just really adds a coolness factor when you add the actual bass, but it has a nice little rubber foot on the bottom here, so you can sit this. Sorry, I accidentally touched the play button. So it has a nice rubberized little foot here. Your input for charging looks like your microphone port here, and of course you have your little power button over here. This thing has a pretty good weight to it. It actually sounds pretty good. It doesn't have a huge amount of bass, but it sounds really clear. It gets pretty loud, not extremely loud, but pretty loud, and it is just very cool to look at. The buttons on this are, you don't have to like press them down like really hard. If I just kind of touch, they're very easy to control, touch sensitive. So let's set this down for a moment. So you have this it's actually very heavy weighted bass. I'm sure that's just because of the magnetic aspect for the most part, and these really cool blue lights. On the bottom you have your power switch, and you have a standard barrel connector for power, and you have 4 little rubber feet, so it should protect whatever surface it's placed on. For your speaker, you can actually use this and have it floating and all that while it's charging. Of course, you can't be spinning or anything, but you have your micro USB charging cable included as well. You have some instructions or information here about how to use the actual speaker. It doesn't really talk about the charging time required, but the light, I believe it mentions that. So, I don't know, I was playing around with this thing. I was more interested in playing with it, I guess, to worry too much about the other aspect of it. But it has a 500 milliamp battery, and at medium volume you can play back for around 8 hours. So that's pretty cool. I say it certainly looks cool whether you're using the bass on the bottom, the bottom portion or not. But oh yeah, the red light is on when it's charging, the blue light when it's fully charged. So you will know. But I don't exactly know how long it takes, because I usually don't kill the battery completely dead on any of my devices, or I try not to. And I don't use Bluetooth speakers for extended periods, long periods of time. So there's always that aspect as well, I guess. But I say it just kind of looks cool, and it floats, which is nice. You can hear the actual button, little spring. But the cool thing is the sound. I'll let you hear it real quick. So it actually, like I said, it has pretty good sound. It's fairly loud. It has a really good amount of bass for the size. I mean, it's not gonna be like some of the other speakers that are available that are much larger, but it just looks super cool, I think. It has this sort of a mirrored portion here that reflects this light back, which is really cool. Getting it to sit is the only thing. I mean, it takes a few seconds to get used to it, because it does that, because it has a very powerful magnet. So you want to be able to place it right in the center and kind of get it floating just like that. And then you can kind of fool around with it, and it's not so bad. But if you spin this, it pretty much stays spinning, well, after that, it just stays spinning forever, I guess, till it's powered off, because I left it spinning and it just was spinning for quite a long while. And of course, you play back your music. And the good thing is, when with the speaker design facing upward, as it's spinning, you're not getting that loud, quiet, because it's not facing you, it's facing upward. So the sound remains constant. So I think this thing is just really cool looking, and it's kind of fun to play with. It's hard not to keep fooling around with it, you know. I don't know. I read some of the other reviews. I was just curious what other people's thoughts were on this. And people were talking about having issues with it. I hope mine continues to work for the long term. I never use it for prolonged periods, so that may become a factor for me. But it definitely has a very strong magnet. It has a light button here. I think you're supposed to long press that. But I'm not sure I noticed any real change in the lighting effects. So I don't know. I don't really care about that too much, just because I think it looks cool just how it is anyway. But I just thought I'd mention that. I'm not sure about the lighting effect aspect, but everything else works really well. Anyway, it's just a really cool speaker, and I said once you get it to sit in the center and float, sometimes that's a little frustrating. It's actually very cool. So I think I got the lighting to work now on the red. I didn't realize I had my hand covering it, but it appears to be like red and green. So yeah, now the button did actually take effect. I had not noticed it before, because my hand was covering over top. So you can well, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there is a frustrating. So there is a pretty cool lighting effects, and it sounds really good overall for the size. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching.
Hey everybody, it's Bethany, and I am reviewing Music Angel, and this is a levitating Bluetooth speaker. So as you can see, you have this piece down here, and it has lights that go around it. You just plug this into a regular outlet. This has a magnet in it, and this has a magnet in the bottom of it that are expelling each other, so that it levitates and turns, which is kind of cool. This is the speaker. You have your controls on the top there. But you can take phone calls, you can play, pause. There's a light. Oh. Because it's a magnet, if you get off, then it goes off to the side. So you've got to get it right in the center, which is kind of hard. It takes some work, but once you get it, it's pretty neat how it levitates. There we go. So you just have to keep kind of working with it. It's better if you come up from above and get it right in the center, and then it's really cool. I don't think this is still got a charge on it, because I was using it earlier and I think I ran the charge down. That's why it's not working. but because I was playing with it. But you can't play music in the videos or they'll delete them. So, but it has a charging cord that you just plug in. It came with some charge, and that's what I was playing with it on. The sound quality is good. Everything was working. And everything has lights, and the levitating is really cool. So it's a really fun, neat looking little speaker. I got it for my teenagers. They think it's so neat and fun to play with. And it's just it's a good speaker too. You can check out the full review and more information in the comments.
Very, very cool. Yes, tech heads. This might be very well a must-have for 2016. For first generational stuff, this was very satisfying right out of the box. Pretty easy. In fact, I picked the whole levitating thing. I got it within a minute, and it was really, once I realized how to go about placing the speaker on there, from there on, not a problem. Simply stand over it. Seriously, just stand over the speaker. Use your Mark 1 optics, your eyeballs, to look down on the base. You'll see where the center is. Place the speaker on top of the center. You'll feel that magnetic cradle. Just hold it up, let go, and there you go. Once I realized to stand over and look down, it was like no problems. I did drop it once, and that was because I was trying to place the speaker from where I'm sitting right now, which is like 2.5 feet away. So I wasn't really seeing the center. But if you look down and look at the center, it's super easy. Now, there is one very specific thing I want to point out, though, that needs to probably be addressed in future production runs. That LED ring is very bright, which is not a bad thing in itself. I'm going to turn off this backlight. So it is very bright, but it's still very cool looking. However, this particular speaker has these little LED lights around the base, and they're very low level, but the blue lighting completely overwhelms them. You need to tone down the blue lighting just a couple of notches so we can actually enjoy the LED lighting. Now, that is actually optional. There is a little button there. And now, these are touch buttons. You don't have to press down. When I first got this, I thought I had to press down, and you can technically press down like that, but you don't have to. Just simply touching them will, as you can see, I can turn it off, and then just not even push down, just put my finger on top of the light button, and there you go. And same with all the other controls. It's short press for track controls, long press for volume. That was at maximum volume, and then of course play, pause, phone answering. So very simple, and you do not have to actually clunk down like that. You don't. Just simply touch the button. Will work just as well. So be aware. However, I still find it extremely difficult to work the buttons while it's floating. That's simply because it's always pretty much for me spinning. But still, like I said, just stand over it, look down, boom, there you go. Yes, very cool. Now, audio-wise, well, it's a novelty speaker. It's clear enough. It doesn't. That's maximum volume, but there's no distortion. But it's not a serious audio device. None of these type of novelty speakers ever are, but it is very satisfying out of the box. Now, one last thing when it comes to the technical, physical aspects. When I charge the speaker up, there's a micro USB port on the side of the speaker, and you charge up the speaker, and a little red light lights up on the top there. Now, that little red light never actually turned off, but I knew it was full because I have a Honeywell charging cord that has a light-up head that, tells me immediately the status of the charging process. You know, it blinks slowly when it's charging, it blinks blue rapidly when it's getting near to full, goes to solid blue when it's full. So I knew it was full, but that little red light was still on there. I seriously doubt that you can overcharge the speaker. Most power sources alone, USB power hubs, will have IC to prevent that sort of thing. As well as I'm sure this speaker has it in itself. But just be aware that that little red indicator light doesn't seem to actually flash off when full. Otherwise, though, dude, yeah, when I first looked at the product pictures, the first thing that came to mind was, of course, the Imperial March. Yeah. And then I just recently looked at the product page again, and I saw that they have a Death Star model? Oh, dude! I know what's going on my birthday list. So there you have it, guys. You have yourself a great one.